The African Transformation Movement is opposing President Cyril Ramaphosa's urgent court bid to halt Parliament's impeachment inquiry into the Phala Phala Farm scandal. And the ATM is arguing that the application is a tactic to delay accountability while the President seeks to suspend the work of the Section 89 committee as he challenges the process in court. ATM's parliamentary leader, Vuyo Zungula, joins me now to talk about this. Vuyo, good morning to you. Welcome to the program. Thank you very much for your time. You're going to oppose. What does that look like?
Firstly, the main argument of the president is that he is going to suffer irreparable harm should the process continue, which is something that should worry South Africans to say, if a process to ventilate all of the facts and get the truths on what the president said it is a legitimate business transaction, what harm can possibly come out of such a process? The second issue that needs to be spoken about is that the Concord gave the judgment on the 8th of May. The president filed papers for an urgent interdict to stop the process on the 12th of June, over a month later. From the 8th of May, Parliament had started processes. They instituted the impeachment committee, the rules discussion in terms of how the rules should be amended, including the election of a chairperson. So it is not something that is urgent, given the fact that from a month ago, the process has started. So that is our main argument to say, firstly, there is no harm that can come to the president when he admits, and he's been so vigilant in saying it was a legitimate business transaction. And South Africans deserve answers. And the only way in which they can get answers, it is only through this process.
So I'm interested in how your opposition is, the design of it is going to look like. As you already mentioned, there are these three elements, the key ones. One is around irreparable harm. One is challenging the foundational aspects of the Section 89 independent panel's outcomes. And also the other is around the invalidity of the process, according to him. So what legal advice have you gotten in terms of how you're going to structure your challenge?
Look, when we're having a discussion with our lawyers, they were very clear to say the president is badly advised by going to court, trying to urgently interdict Parliament from doing its work, because firstly, Parliament is doing its own processes when it comes to holding him accountable, because this is a process of accountability. Secondly, this process, it is not even by Parliament's own doing. It was instructed by the highest court in the land. Therefore, the bar that is set when it comes to stopping Parliament from doing its work, it is very high for the president to climb over when it comes to the issues that have been ventilated before in the other processes, whereby I think it was Section 194 of Advocate Mkhwebane, she could not stop Parliament from doing its work. Similarly, the president also can't stop Parliament from doing its work, and it is something that has been, it is unprecedented for an entire president to want to sue or to stop Parliament from basically doing what Parliament is constitutionally obligated to do.
How is the ATM this morning interpreting the actions of the Speaker of the House? What signals are you getting from her office that parliamentary institutions will hold firm in this matter?
We are going to judge the Speaker based on this particular process, because the Speaker needs to go to court, join this particular application and oppose the application of the president to stop Parliament from doing the work, whilst other parties and individuals are going to oppose it. But the person that is the head of the institution, which is Parliament, is the Speaker. The person that needs to protect the independence and the integrity of Parliament when it comes to its own processes is the Speaker. So if the Speaker does not join and oppose, we're going to have questions on her independence. But if she joins and opposes this application, then it's going to give confidence to South Africans that you've got a Speaker that is able to defend the institution, even if the head of state is trying to stop Parliament from doing its work.
All right. So as you say, it'll be, an important interpretive tool to see what her next move is going to be. I mean, we've already seen that motion of no confidence that was brought by you having been rejected by the Speaker. Your sense, I mean, is she genuinely acting from, an institutionally convicted point of view, or is it sort of partisanship, party partisanship?
Look, the ANC has always made it very clear to say they are going to direct their deployees in Parliament to act in the best interest of the ANC. So the Speaker is obligated to do what the ANC tells her to do, just like the previous speakers, Omamu Baleka and Omamu Nqakula, they were also, instructed in terms of what to do. However, those two former speakers have come out now and said that they took wrong decisions as instructed by the ANC. So it is up to Umama Udidiza to actually protect her own integrity if her own party is trying to throw her under the bus or make her to do things that are against the spirit of the Constitution. So we're going to see based on this particular process, but we're happy the fact that when the president wrote to her and asked her to stop the process of impeachment, she said she does not get involved in the affairs of the committee. That is why the president later wrote to Makashule Ghana to try and stop him, as the chair of the committee from proceeding in the work of the committee. So in that regard, it was a step in the right direction from the speaker, but we are going to judge her based on her actually going to court against the president who is wanting to stop Parliament from doing its work.
It's a big week this week, Vuyo, in terms of local government elections. Those registrations are happening this weekend. So when are you planning to file these opposing papers?
Actually, over the weekend, our lawyers were working on it, so we might file today. If not today, then latest on Wednesday. Yeah,
I mean, we'd love to see, once they're filed as well, what the substance is, although you've already shared most of what that's going to look like with us. The president is, we've spoken about some of the basis of his court action. You have described his bid as employing Stalingrad tactics, which means using every legal opportunity to try and either delay the process or have things go his way. Others will say this is his constitutional right to approach the courts. So where do you draw the line between exercising his legal rights and abusing them?
He's definitely abusing them, because what is expected of a president, that he must be beyond reproach and he must inspire confidence that he is not under any form of criminal foreign influence. Now, when it comes to Phala, each and every South African, no matter how much they love Mr. Ramaphosa, they will tell you there are more questions than answers. The dollars were undeclared. The fact that when those dollars were kept in a couch instead of a safe, and the fact that the product that was sold has not been collected in over 6 years. That is more questions than answers. Now, the president can't then want to stop the only institution that elects him, the only institution that can constitutionally hold him accountable from doing its work. So the fact that he's going to court trying to stop a process that is designed by the Constitution and having been affirmed by the highest court in the land, the Constitutional Court, because it took the Constitutional Court, by the way, to say to Parliament, look, Parliament, you made a mistake in 2022 when you were handling this issue. Therefore, what you are instructed to do now, it is that go to an impeachment committee where all of these issues can be properly ventilated. Now, for the head of state to actually want to stop Parliament from doing what Parliament has been instructed to do by the highest court in the land, it is akin to being contempt of court. It is akin to him wanting to delay the process and wanting to frustrate, the process. And he's basically undermining both Parliament and the Constitutional Court, because it is the Constitutional Court that said this process must continue. And according to paragraph 139 of the Concord Order, it is very clear the process can only stop only when that report is set aside by a court of law.
We, on a separate issue though, Vuyo, and to close, we're in a moment of truth for South Africa, and a test of leadership, especially political, diplomatic and other leadership in our government and in our institutions as well, which seem to have failed on the issue of illegal immigration. Where does the ATM stand on this morning?
Look, it should not have taken March and other citizens to march and protest for government to do its work. The fact that when it comes to the people that have gone to Ghana, deported back to Ghana, over 95% of them were illegal in the country. Similarly, the ones that Malawans that are in Sherwood in Durban, also they're illegal in the country. shows the crisis in government now, because we're basically failed by the government, because the laws that are there are very clear when it comes to migration. The biggest issue that we face, government is not governing. Government has been failing to basically enforce its own laws. That is why then people, out of the frustration of the failures of government, have now taken it upon themselves to actually intervene. So the crisis that we are facing can only be resolved by government, by just enforcing the law. Because if you go, Iman, to other countries, you get very clear messages. Once government sees that you are illegal in the country, they act. In South Africa, there's no action. So that is why there's going to be this term of xenophobia, because people are the ones that are intervening. Whereas in other countries, it is the government through its institutions that are intervening. Here in South Africa, we have only 832 immigration officers, meaning only 832 people can come to you and ascertain your status in our country. That is a clear indication of a government that does not have capacity and does not want to solve this problem, because had they wanted to solve this problem, they would not have employed more labor inspectors than immigration officers, because immigration officers are the ones that deal with immigration issues.
Vuyo, thanks for your comment on that. And in fact, for our viewers, we will have the Home Affairs DDG on the AM report at 8:30 this morning talking about this very issue. ATM Parliament leader Vuyo Zungula.